Welcome back to another episode of Trading Secrets. Today I am joined by entrepreneur, business leader, real estate investor, and my favorite shark, Barbara Corcoran. We all know Barbara is one of the savvy, high-powered investors on Shark Tank, but what you may not know is her unique and diverse business career that sparked the opportunity for her to be on the show. Barbara founded her real estate company in 1973, the Corcoran Group. Over the coming years, she grew her company from a small business into a $5 billion, that's B with a B, real estate empire, and since expanded her skill sets into many other ventures, such as becoming a best-selling author, motivational speaker, podcaster. This is one of the most 2023 things to say, content creator, television personality, and much more. Barbara, thank you so much for being here. We are excited to have you on.
I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you with that big role out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could have kept going and going, but I had to cut it off somewhere. Your resume is stacked. 1973, starting this company, 2023, and all the things in between. But what makes this interview hard, Barbara, is you're so well known to my listeners. They know everything. They know the 20 jobs by 23. They know the jerk X that left you. They know that they said that you couldn't make it in the real estate game, and you did. They know all that story. So what I have to do is say, how are we going to make this interview different? We got to take some different angles here. I'm going to try to crack into vaults of trading secrets you have yet to share.
I'm not going to share a thing with you.
You're not going to share a thing. Well, guess what I'm
Jason.
going to do? I'm coming firing, and we'll see what happens. How about that?
Good
All
enough.
right. Well, let's start with Corcoran Group. So founded in 1973, sold the company in 2001, and you started with $1,000 investment.
Borrowed money.
I'm not going to ask you the borrowed money. I don't want the sob story,
that.
Barbara. We've heard it.
I'm keeping
You're
it
the
to
best.
myself. I'm going to cry tonight.
Let's get into something real, though.
Okay.
Right here, right now, we're seeing interest rates go up significantly. We're seeing the debt ceiling hit. There's just a lot of action. In 1981, you had to deal with interest rates peaking at over 21%, I think in the summer of 81.
You're the only person who remembers that.
Really?
In the universe. Of course, nobody remembers those interest rates.
Yeah. 21%. And this is one that surprised me. 1981, if you made over $215,400, you were taxed at 70%.
I didn't remember that.
70%, which is equivalent right now to like $741,000 today. So you were at like the peak of what could be coming. Debt ceiling's going up. Interest rates are going up. Everyone's scared. You've seen it, you've been there, and you thrived in it. What is your take on like just what's happening today, given the environment?
Well, number one, you get through it. You know, there's a problem around every corner. When you're growing a business, when you're living your life, you get through it. Right now, everybody's scared. And they think the interest rates currently are high, but I do remember 18, 19, 21% when no one would buy a thing. People are buying. What's saving the market right now, in my opinion, is you get half the house you would have gotten 2 years ago, which is the bad news. But fortunately, people aren't putting the houses on the market. So there's not enough houses around. So right for now, things are stable. But if everyone decided to put their house on the market who wants to sell and didn't mind giving up their low interest rates to move, which they don't want to do, the sellers, we'd have a real problem. But we don't have that. It's a pretty stable market. But did I answer your question? I'm not sure I did.
I think so. I think like you answered that it is stable, but if people are worried about interest rates going higher, I think there's probably a time before it hit 21%, you had to worry about that starting your company. Like what type of information or what would you say to the people that are worried? Like interest rates are 7%. This is crazy. You saw them at 21%.
Yes, of
course.
what
type of advice would you give those people?
I always
worried?
made money on real estate, no matter what interest point I bought it at. You can decide when you buy a house, but you'll have no idea when life gives you changes and you feel you have to sell the house. And that determines whether you make a profit. Very few people lose money on real estate, but I think the most important thing to know is you got to get in the game. If you don't get in the game when you're young, you're behind the 8 ball. It's so hard to catch up. I remember I shied away on my first purchase of a studio. It took me like 7 years to be able to afford it again. I mean, once I had the studio, I got a 1-bedroom, got a 2-bedroom, got a 3-bedroom, finally got a penthouse, what I wanted. It wouldn't have happened if I hadn't gotten in the game when I was like 30 years old. Probably too late even then.
Yeah, I think it's good advice though, because I think right now, like what I'm seeing with my peers is paralysis. They're trying to figure out where do I go and when, and they don't know where to go, so they do nothing. And it sounds like that's the worst thing to do.
The worst thing to do. And also when everyone decides it's a safe time to come out, everybody's competing with you, overbidding like crazy, and you don't get anywhere anyway. It's bad now, but it's going to get better
I got it.
If everybody gets in the game.
I got it. It's like the Warren Buffett thing, when there's blood in the streets, get in the game. All right, I want to talk about this, about getting in the game. I saw on your TikTok, you talked about how you were looking for like a marketing strategy for the Corcoran Group. So what you did was you sent information about the real estate numbers in like the 80s to a New York Times journalist. You sent it to all of them. You didn't see anything. All of a sudden you see there's a huge headline in there. Real estate prices hit all-time lows, right? And then Barbara Corcoran is in there as the real estate expert, and you said your phone was ringing off the charts, off the hook. Then fast forward decades later, your phone's ringing off the hooks now because of the way that you're in social media. So through all that, from writing papers to social media, you've stayed at the forefront of being seen. People today are lost. How do I get my brand seen? How do I get my business seen? What do I do? Those people that are lost, that don't know how to get eyeballs on them, what advice would you give them?
Well, you have to realize it's all the same. It's a matter of how do I get attention? When I built the Corcoran Group, I would have never built the company if I wasn't good at bullshit, market reports, advertising, PR. I could think of a story a minute and put it out there whether it was true or not. You know, by the time they came to cover the story, it was kind of true in my book. But I built the Barbara Corcoran brand without the use of that because it's outdated. Now I use, of course, social media like we all do. And what a level playing field. I mean, I think it's so much easier to build a brand today. I don't think I'm being glib by saying that. But anyone who has a good story to put out and is not afraid to look like a fool and try different things, you could try a million things and see what sticks. But with social media today, the world is right there for you to take to get the attention you need.
I think that's such a good advice for people to hear that are like afraid of it. You've seen it, just like, I think that it's the fear of what people are going to say if they put something out there. They're going to be embarrassed by it. But for them to hear from you, someone who's seen it from then to now, and you're saying this is the easiest way to get exposed. It's like, wake up, people, get it out there.
And you don't have to pay for it. Imagine that. And people will eventually pay you for being there.
How
it's
about
kind of crazy. But you know, isn't that the same thing that stops everybody with everything? Fear of what the next guy thinks?
That's true.
Or fear of just thinking of what you think of yourself by failing.
Interesting.
So,
I have more questions on the Corcoran Group. Before I do, what's your trading secret for people that are afraid of what other people think?
To know that everybody's afraid. I mean, I used to think I was the only scared person in the room, the only insecure person, the only person who maybe wasn't as capable as the next guy standing next to me. And then I realized everybody's afraid. Just some people have a better act than others, and I've gotten over it. What I love about fear is it motivates. When you're scared, you run. Okay, fear for me, fear of being, found out as not capable or shown as not capable, got me running hard all my life. If I didn't have that fear, I don't think I'd be successful. It's your best friend.
Got it. So use the fear to run at it, not away from it.
It sounds like easy to do, but it's a habit you form. You know, every time I'm scared, I go, okay, I'm scared, let's do it again. Here we go again, and I don't expect success. That's it. Generally, 5 things I try, 1's successful. So that's it. When I know I'm on number 4, flop, I know success is around the corner.
There you go. I
My
like
numbers
that.
are coming in.
Numbers are coming in. Fight or flight, too. Like, that's such a real thing. Like, when people are fearful, humans or animals, like, we are taught to leave.
Yes, we
And
are.
so changing that, like, just that whole rhythm to actually get into it is something that's huge. And the social media stuff, I know you've been an advocate of it. You've crushed it. You're killing it. And even guys I call my listeners, they're the Money Mafia back home, from the Money Mafia back home. I'm not going to tell you what Barbara told me she would do if I poached her social media team.
No, don't you dare say that.
I'm not going to tell them. I'm not going to tell them. But long story short, I can't poach your social media team.
You're not doing it.
They're incredible, and you're doing awesome on Shark Tank. 2 more questions on Corcoran Group. I still travel around, Hamptons, wherever I am, South Carolina, all coast to coast, and I see your signs, Corcoran Group. It's still up. Do you still have any affiliation, or are they just using your name, image, and likeness since it was acquired?
Well, they're not using it. They bought it.
They bought it, right?
And they're not using my image and likeness. They're using the brand. They bought the brand, Corcoran Group. You know, today, I don't have anything to do with the company, but we're like distance lovers. I can't have a single day where I don't run into people on the street wherever I travel and saying, I'm one of your agents. They think I still own the shop. You know, so, but more importantly, I have such a love affair with Corcoran Group because of the people that I built there. We have parties every second, or sometimes I let 3 years go with all of our old timers. We have outrageous parties that old women shouldn't be attending. And I don't
What's your
let them
go-to
bring
drink?
Yeah.
What's your go-to drink?
Oh, it's not about the drink. It's the
Okay.
entertainment, please.
Oh, okay.
But the women go in there, and I just remember in the last party, one of the women said, I haven't seen young flesh in years. But I don't let them bring the cameras. I hold the pictures.
Okay.
They can't post about it. They don't even know how to post, honestly. But we have outrageous parties because of our affection for each other. So I never really left Corcoran Group emotionally, you know.
Gotcha. So when you see those signs, you don't see that as like, that's my name and they're benefiting off it. You're like, that's my name. I'm proud of it and I want to be part of it even though I'm gone.
Just imagine the opposite. If the business had gone belly up, had been mismanaged, and they hadn't progressed the business, I would be heartbroken for the rest of my life.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay. So you sold it for $66 million.
Yes.
We know that story.
Yes.
A question I have to ask myself is I'm here and right now you're in your 70s. Your schedule's 2 times more packed
No, I'm actually
than
in
mine.
my 50s. You're mistaken.
Yeah, that's true. You look like you're in your 30s. You are in your 50s. The bullshit internet says in your 70s. But your schedule's more jammed than most people that are listening to this podcast. And I think to myself, when you sell a company that you work so hard for $66 million, you know, did you ever think like, when's enough? And what is enough? How do you battle that of when is enough?
Well, I ask you, when do you finish having fun? You know, for most of us who are building businesses, it's not about the money. I've invested in tons of businesses, but I don't find the guys motivated by the money are the successful ones. It's ones that love the process of what can we do lately? What can we do next? Where do we go next? You know, when I sold my business, I thought I would retire. I thought I'd take cooking classes and finally learn how to cook good Italian food. But it didn't work out.
Can you do that yet or not?
I took one class, and I knew this wasn't for me. But as you, I'm sure, are aware, all the fun is in the getting there.
Yeah.
And so why would I end the fun of getting there? You don't know what's around the corner, what the potential is, what you could do with the next person you meet. It's just too much of a blast to give up. I'm addicted to fun.
Addicted to fun, addicted to the game. And that game then brought you to Shark Tank. And I just read an article on Yahoo about the whole casting process.
Yeah, kind of
They're going to
crazy.
bring you in. Mark Burnett then fires you.
Yes,
and then you
he
go
did.
to you
He
go to
didn't mean
bat.
to.
You
Yeah.
go to bat and say, give me a period to compete for this spot.
Yes, that's fair.
How did that work? So they bring both of you two in. Do you know who the other person is? How do you
course I do.
compete for the spot?
You compete for the spot because we both would try it out on set, see who's better on set.
Were you next to each other or not?
No, because there was only room for one of us. So there was one female seat, so we each tried out for the female seat. The men didn't have to try out. There were 4 men. They got their seat from the get-go. So the women competed for the seat, but I don't think I've had a happier moment being as competitive as I am. At the end of the day, when I saw them took the other lady's star off her trailer. And my star was still in the trailer. I'm like, could it be? Could it be? But if I hadn't stood up for myself and said, bring us back out to compete, she already had the spot. Thank God I spoke up.
Thank God you spoke
God
up.
I
Think
spoke
about
up.
how that changed your
Well,
life.
I would have done some other great career, I'm sure.
damn right
but
you
what a
would.
lucky break that was.
That was a lucky break.
But by speaking up, I made my own luck that day.
Right. So
Objecting.
they let you go, you speak up, they bring you in the game to then test for it. Just paint the picture a little more. So did they bring the other sharks in and then have you in a seat to test? Or were you by yourself?
No, we were all in our seats. So they let one woman be in half the show for half the day, and the other woman took the seat in the other afternoon.
Wow. And so what's going through your head? Because I think this will help people back at home when they're trying to interview or they're trying to separate themselves in a boardroom.
Yeah.
And they have to be the one that has to differentiate. What do you think you did during that testing period to be the shark that made you what you were? And
I thought that son of a bitch isn't going to get my seat. I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
I've competed for things I don't even want simply because I'm competitive. I thought to myself, I will kill her rather than let her get my seat. I called it my seat that I wanted.
Yeah.
And so that always brings out your best performance.
so then you were playful, you were funny, you were high energy, quick witty lines,
driven
all those
by hate.
things. Okay.
In my soul. In my soul.
All the emotions
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
out and magnified. All right, so 14 seasons of Shark Tank later, 130 deals made on the show. I saw the largest deal was a $350,000 investment for 40% of cover play. Before we get into some of those numbers, what I got to ask you is, does Shark Tank, because that's a lot of deals you're doing, does Shark Tank require you to invest in a certain amount of deals on a season basis?
No, thank God they don't. I imagine if you sat on a show for 14 seasons and didn't buy anything, they wouldn't be happy. But there are no rules. The only rules on Shark Tank is that you have to use your own money. You cannot know a thing about the entrepreneur before they walk through the door. You know nothing.
Yeah.
And you have to give the entrepreneur the money they're asking for. You can't negotiate down from that number. Other than that, there are no rules on Shark Tank. It's reality TV. It's an authentic thing. And it's stressful. Because there are no
It feels
real...
stressful. I get nervous watching it sometimes.
You do sometimes?
Yeah, like those people that come in and then they don't know their business and then they get turned inside out. I'm like, how did you go into the tank not knowing your business?
Yeah, well, it breaks my heart when I see that. You know?
You could tell just based on the shark you are. A question though, you said they won't let you negotiate down. You guys negotiate down all the time.
No, I'm sorry. They won't let you negotiate the number. They want 450.
Yeah.
You could offer the 450. You could want more stock in the company. You could add on little things, but you have to give them the 450.
Okay, so what they ask for, you have to do, but you can structure it in any single way.
Yes, and the best way in my book to structure it, when you're unsure of the deals, I'll give you the 450, half in a loan and half in equity. But I want the same equity. Most people say no.
I'm sure. Interesting. It's so fascinating to me. When you said you have to have your own money, could you, like I would think if I was a shark, which I never will be, but maybe one day, I would think to like create a holding company. I own 100% of it and get LPs to like raise a fund and then go into the Shark Tank. There are pro poker players we've had on this podcast. Before they go to the World Series of Poker, they'll raise like $10 million bucks and then they go play all the tournaments.
And they never lose.
And if they do,
lose?
they'll never lose then because they also have sponsorship, so they know they're going to win.
I see.
Do any of the sharks create like a fund like that, even though it's your money because it's your company, and then use that, or is it all 100% self-funded?
It's 100% self-funded. You know, I've been proposed over the years. So many people want to invest in my Shark Tank fund.
Yeah.
They really get into it, and I get real excited, but I never go there. You know why? I can't stand the thought of losing somebody else's money. And I lose money on most of my businesses, and I make a killing on some of them. And I wouldn't sleep at night if I thought it was somebody else's money. I lose the money, it hurts, but it's my money. No, I just don't want to go there. It's probably a great financial plan because you shelter yourself. But you don't shelter the next guy, so it's not for me.
Interesting.
I heard the other sharks, I think.
The other sharks are the same way.
No, I don't think they do anything like that.
Okay. I heard
if they do, they better come clean and tell me.
Yeah, they might. I feel like Kevin O'Leary might do something like that.
No,
Damon John. I mean, if it was me, I'd want a fund, but...
No, it's your suspicion that maybe he's a wheeler dealer, you're right, but not that kind of thing, I don't think.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. All right, well, there's that. I heard on Hannah Berner's podcast, you made a comment about that you're really good at making money. You're actually not the best in the world at making money on your money. And when I heard that, I was like, tell me more about that, because I was surprised. That caught my attention.
Really? It's two different skills. You know, if you make money, how do you make money? You have great judgment. You know who to trust. You hire people. You believe in an idea that works, and you see what's wrong with an idea that doesn't work in advance. Okay. And so you build an empire. Easy for me, because I have natural gifts in all those arenas. However, making money on money, what stocks do you buy? Do you do bonds? Should I do more real estate? Is it lopsided? The advice I get is all over the board. And I don't know who to believe. When I sold my business, I was approached by probably maybe 200 investment bankers for a year, all wanting my money and how they were going to invest. I didn't trust any of them. So I put my money in a checking account that didn't even draw interest. I should have at least known that much. The 66 million should have interest. I just stuck it at Citibank and waited. Because you know what? I don't trust easily until I finally found an accountant that I totally trust, and he guided me. Let's hope I'm right. It's been like 25 years.
Hopefully you nailed it.
I haven't even checked my balance sheet. Let me check right now.
Let's get those income statements going on balance sheet.
You know, I'm no good at making money. I don't even like to have financial meetings. They bore the hell out of me, and I don't have anything to contribute. You guys do what you do well. You girls do what you do well. and let me just make more money.
I think that's really fascinating because there is an art of making money. There is an art of making money on your money. I think most people think those go one in one, hand in hand. They
Nothing
don't,
to do with each other.
They don't. And figuring out which one of those is best for you could have a huge impact on like career navigation for the people listening at home and financial management.
What's the common ground is opportunity. You have an opportunity to make money. You need opportunity. You have an opportunity to make money on your money. You need the opportunity. But one requires a lot more trust. I think me investing my money through other people scares me every time. Me investing in what I see and what I believe in could make money never scares me.
Gotcha.
A lot more
All right.
fun.
Golden question I got for you. Shark Tank, we've had every reality show cast on, and we talk about what you make. What do you get paid to be on Shark Tank? How's that
I'm
work?
not going to tell you what I'm paid, but let me tell you,
At least I tried.
they pay me very well. But
Gotcha.
anyway, I spend all that money on my businesses that I buy, and I spend a lot of my own money on the businesses I buy. So who really cares what they pay? What Shark Tank brings more than anything else is other opportunity.
Right.
The opportunity it brings is vast.
Huge.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that opportunity, but I'll end with this question, see if you'll give me this. On an annual basis, what they pay you versus what you invest. Do you typically invest more than what they
Much
pay
more.
you? Much
Definitely.
more.
You couldn't be effective on Shark Tank if you didn't almost have a reckless abandonment to investing your money. Hey, by the way, I said I was no good at making money on my money. On Shark Tank,
You
I
did
make
pretty
money on
good.
my money. Yeah.
Darn right.
But I'm investing in people. There's a whole different kettle of fish to trust people versus money, you know?
Yeah, can I ask you, you just alluded to it, can I ask you, best return you got or most deal that you're most proud of when it comes to Shark Tank?
Well, those are two different things. The deal I got the most money with is certainly, I'm sorry, what's the name of the...
I didn't know.
Coffee.
I didn't know if I could ask that. That's why I changed the question.
No, it's all right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so what was your question?
Okay, yeah.
Now that I know the name of my best company.
We'll transit.
Yeah. And what did I invest in that? 50,000 or 100,000?
It was 50.
50. All right, why don't I just segue it so we can cut it,
good.
right?
Yeah.
That's a perfect transition. You talked about some of your best deals. What is the best return you ever got in a deal from an investment on Shark Tank?
That would be on the Comfy product. I invested $50,000. No other sharks were interested. I thought the guys are a little bit out of their mind, but fun-loving and had kind of an interesting concept, all they had of a product. And I invested $50,000, and they made $450 million in sales in 3 years.
Wow.
Shocking. Wait, did I tell that number right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, okay.
That is unbelievable.
Well, you should believe it.
Yeah. Do you have? That's just amazing. What about? Do you have a deal that you got into that you think twice about? Like maybe I should have just let Kevin or Mark have it. Do you have one of those deals that keeps you up at night from Shark Tank?
Well, it doesn't keep me up at night. But is there a deal that I should have let the other guys or girls have or girl have? Most of them. I should have given it better thought. But you get into a certain headset on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
I always have to fall in love with the person, and those are always my winning deals. When I have no care for what money the business is making or even what product it is, believe it or not, I try to erase it in my thinking. And I just say, do I like this person? When I make my decisions based on that, they're my winners every time.
Okay. Gotcha.
So,
People.
people. And what was your question again?
Well, I want to go back to. I want to actually go into. It was the worst deal. So, if there's one
So
that you
many.
regret, but you obviously have a bunch. Okay.
I don't have regrets on the deals that I lose money on or pass by. What I do have regrets on are people that I've misjudged. And then I start to wonder, am I a good judge of people? But I get over it by the next deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want your take on reality TV because I've been in the tank of reality TV and I know what it's like when there's just a lot of cameras on and there's a lot of people and everyone's trying to grab the attention. And so my biggest thought process, just like business and strategy, is when you talk, make it meaningful, but keep it quick. Do you have
sound
any
bites.
things when it comes to reality TV? You're dealing with these big personalities who have super success, but you got to be Barbara. You got to build that brand. You got to stand out. What type of things, as far as TV stuff, do you do from a strategy perspective?
You'll be disappointed in my answer, okay? I have a million strategies every year. I prepare like crazy because I'm an over-preparer. I have pages of notes, pages of sound bites, pages of angles that I could work. And then I sit in my seat, I forget them all. Because one thing gets in my way, insecurity.
Yeah.
I sit there And I try to think, how the hell am I going to be heard here? The guys talk louder than me. Lori talks louder than me. They cut me off. I'm polite. A lot of them aren't polite. And so I sit there worried about getting any sound in, never mind the right words, never mind something clever that I thought of only yesterday. I owned it, and now I can't remember it. So what I have done in the last 3 years that I finally came into my own, I just sit in that seat and I listen, and I don't worry about what I'm going to say or how often I'm going to say it. And so I come out with meaningful stuff because I'm listening so hard. And because I'm such an accurate judge of people and what's wrong with them and what's right with them.
Yeah.
So I just question on that, and I always have something worthwhile to say. I actually finally play myself versus worried all these years about, oh my God. So I finally didn't get over my insecurity, but I'm finally feeling better.
Yeah, and as a viewer of the show, that transparency is seen through the screen.
You think so?
It's so clear that you're just purely yourself and authentic. And actually that's what I think makes people so magnified to you, is because it's just you being you and not trying to get that seen. And it's like,
it's a lot easier.
Yeah, something about the whole authenticity just creates magnification.
I'm happy you're falling for it.
I'm falling for it, Barbara. I'm here. I'm sold. We were just born in different times, you know? All right, let me ask you about this. I have 2 questions about public figures. Let me start with the first one. So what is the most impressive public figure you've come across, either because you were on the set of Shark Tank or it was like a red carpet with Shark Tank? This whole Shark Tank has given you exposure. You've had tons of exposure, but to like massive public figures. Who's the most impressive public figure you've met as a result?
Easily Kevin Hart.
Interesting.
He was such a surprise to me.
Tell me more.
Well, he's such a phenomenal comic, as you know. And we all had that impression of him. So I thought he was going to be quick-witted on the show. I thought he was going to be the funny man. I thought he was going to make his funny faces. Not at all. He has been, for me, the most brilliant guest shark I've ever seen on Shark Tank by a mile. His mind is so bright, so fast, so analytical, so creative, and he talks as fast as he thinks, like a stream of, like a machine gun. Wow. It's not a wasted word. When he was on the set the first day, the major problem we had with him on the set is none of the sharks were saying anything. We were so busy staring at him and taking in what he was saying, we forgot we had to talk.
Wow.
By the second day on the set, we started talking again, but he blew me away. What I didn't like about Kevin Hart is he gave his first deal to Lori.
Okay, not you.
Yeah, not me. Boy, was I jealous. I thought, I never care about getting in bed with a guest shark. I don't care who I do business with. I like my Mark Cuban, I like my Damon to do deals with once in a while. But with him, I was dying to jump into bed with him. And then in the afternoon, this first day, you could cut this out, of course, but it's not illegal or anything. Yeah. But by the afternoon of the first day, he gave me the opportunity to be his partner. I'm like, yes. I must have been 12 years old, going, yes, pick me. And then I hesitated when the entrepreneur asked for more money. And he looked at me and said, what do you think, Barbara? I said, no, it's too much. And with that, Mark said, I'll take it. And he bought me out of the bed. He took the deal with Mark.
Geez.
I sat there like I had lost my best lover.
Yeah.
Just sitting there. I never felt so young and vulnerable in my life.
It was a personal...
I swore if he gave me an opportunity once more, I would take anything.
That's truly Barbara's biggest regret on Shark Tank.
It really is.
A
It
personal
really is.
and professional
It took
heartbreak.
me a week to get over it.
Oh my gosh. Kevin Hart, if you're out there, Barbara's ready to do a deal with you. Please bring it back full circle.
Any deal, any term.
Any deal, any term, you name the numbers. All right, let me ask you this. We're on public figures. There's a ton of public figures out there right now.
Yeah.
There are
Who isn't public
Yeah,
anymore?
who isn't? There's influencers, there's celebrities, there's movie stars, there's everything. You invest in people.
Yes.
If you had to invest in one public figure, given all the things you're seeing right now, who is someone you would buy equity or stock in?
If I could, I would buy 100% of Alex Earl.
Alex Earl. How come? Tell us why.
She's a moneymaker. Everything about her is a moneymaker. She's young. She's got a good running distance that she could still make money, for maybe the next 50 years. She's gorgeous. She's sexy. She's articulate. And she picks up followers like there's nothing to it, like breadcrumbs. She's amazing. And what she's being paid per endorsement, what was her, can I ask, what was?
I heard $750K.
Is that true?
Yeah.
750 K per posting. I gotta believe that's not true.
I know that deals have been sent her way in the six-figure range, and I know like the low
Really?
six-figure range, and I know she's
For
declined
posting?
them.
Per posting?
Per posting. Yeah.
I hate her. I'm
One
jealous.
picture, damn it.
Darn.
It's unbelievable. All right. They should do, what about that with Shark Tank? Now with influencers making so much money and having so much power, what if they brought influencers on and you bought equity in their posts and stuff? I think maybe.
Might be an interesting twist.
Yeah.
But remember, the producers are all older.
That's true.
Their heads back in the TV space. They want giant sports figures, heroes.
Yeah.
Well-known comics,
The
well-known
A-Rods of the
actresses.
world,
They haven't made that transition, but you want to know something?
Yeah.
It's a great idea, and do you mind? I'm going to propose it and take the credit for it.
Propose it, take the credit, and
Your
then
name
like
will never
if you
come up.
need an admin or something, like you just need like an assistant to like, make sure your chair's at the right setting.
Oh, come
I'll be that
on.
person.
I would have to leave my chair and go on a date with you. I would never sit in my chair.
Deal. We'll get Caitlin's approval on that. All right, let's transition to some life career stuff. What is the single most amount of money that you've lost on a business transaction? It doesn't have to be related to Shark Tank. Just the single most amount and how
The very
much was
first real estate investment I ever made, I bought a 12-room motel in Dutchess County, Gloyd's Motel.
it? Okay.
It had a great rent roll. I thought, here I am. I'm doing it. I'm 32. I'm buying my first hotel, my first investment, feeling like a big shot. I asked the attorney to show me all the figures. I looked at the rent roll. Boy, there were 12 tenants, high rent for what this Dumby place was. Bought it. Nobody had paid their rent in 3 years. 6 months later, everybody was evicted for non-payment of rent. They didn't have the money to pay. They were all unemployed. And I buried the hotel. That was my first successful real estate deal. It was a disaster.
Wow. How much did you lose on that deal?
600,000, but that was when I was 30. So let's say that's the equivalent. And I had no money, so it seemed like $1 trillion,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a lot of money then, and it was terrible. But I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
I always check my numbers, and it's helped me on Shark Tank. I check those numbers thoroughly.
That's an interesting lesson. I want to ask for the viewers back home, if they don't know what it means when you said, I buried that hotel, what does that mean?
Literally, I dug a hole, and, well, I didn't do it. I had tractor trailers come and dig a hole and demoed it and buried it and put the dirt back on top.
And then what you do, just sell the dirt then?
I took the loss. I owned land for probably 6 years. I think I was paid $12,000 for it 6-7 years later.
Okay. You touched on something there about Shark Tank. I just got to quickly step my foot back into that tank about the numbers. I've always wondered, you guys do the numbers so damn quick when like you come up with the structures and the percentages.
Yeah.
Is there ever a time that someone like miscalculated and then after the show you're like, I don't know if I can commit to that? Because you do it so quick out there with no calculators, no analysts behind you.
Yeah.
Is it, like, does anybody ever screw those numbers up?
I screw up on numbers all the time.
And then you're just stuck
I don't
to
get
them,
numbers,
right?
okay? No, but I have Mark to my right. I ask him to do my numbers. They edit on the show, you know. Half the stuff they cut out is me saying, I'll give you double what you're asking, or I'll give you what you ask and name the wrong number. And Mark will say, that's double what he wants. Oh, sorry, I'll give you 100, not 200. You know, but they edit it out, and then at the end of the day, they have me do the most redos of sound bites to get the numbers down, you know.
Okay, gotcha.
For 25%. Oh, but they offered you 50%. I mean, for 50%. But Mark's my number guy. Nobody else makes mistakes on numbers. And remember, we do our due diligence after the fact. So if anything's not quite right, we have the chance to renege a bit on it, you know, or
based on
renegotiate.
due diligence. Okay, interesting. I want to talk a little bit about personal life, and then I also want to talk about your take on financial matters in relationships. Before we get there,
Tricky subject.
it's a very tricky one. I just had like 3 weeks away from submitting my book 2 manuscript on this topic, and it has been really tough
What's
to
the
write
title?
on. It's called Talk Money to Me.
Good. To me. I like that. With your face on the...
Yeah, talk money
yeah.
to me. It's like you and your partner, like, let's talk money. Let's talk about the things.
Yeah.
Okay, but I want to just ask you about this on the personal side of things.
Yes.
Since going on the show and going from massive business, female, woman, entrepreneur, and leader to celebrity, public figure, like well-known, how much has that show changed business for you, changed life for you, changed monetarily opportunities for you? Like, how has that changed things?
It's been the best thing that's ever happened to me since selling my business. You know, I'm constantly amazed how much money notoriety is worth.
Yeah.
I'm the same person selling the same thing that I always have. I think my selling card is people trust me, so I sell, and I don't not tell the truth, and I believe in what I say, and people sense it. However, with Shark Tank, everybody buys in. With enough people seeing you as a public figure, everybody buys in. It takes the one-on-one relationships that I used to build trust on and turns them 1 to 1,000,000. Okay, so I make money on it. I make money on speeches, endorsements from everybody in the world that have nothing to do with my brand, really. But if I say the brand is a good brand, people are going to trust it. So I make money there. I owe all of my revenue to Shark Tank because it gave me the notoriety card. And that's so valuable. Now, aren't you going to ask about the personal side?
Yeah, well, I'm going to ask about the personal side. I got one more, though. One more. So on this side, because you alluded to the crazy things you get compensated for, what is like one obscure thing that you get compensated for and how much since you've been a celebrity figure? For example, I think I heard that like Nicki Minaj went to it was like a bar mitzvah in Long Island and got paid $350,000 to show up to do 20 minutes of singing, something like that. Is there anything like obscure that you've gotten that you can remember?
Obscure things for me, the most that I say, what the heck am I doing here, is in costumes. I wear costumes for all my entrepreneurs for updates, and they're memorable. I've dressed as a pig for pork barrel barbecue sauce. I've dressed as the boogie grabber. What was I, a bear? Her logo's a bear. I dressed as a bear in the aisles of Kmart or whatever the hell it was. So many costumes. Put a costume on Barbara, she'll wear that big head. And then your makeup looks like terrible when you bring your head off. So I constantly find myself being a clown to benefit other people, but it works in the TV space. It's memorable, it's silly, and kind of people love you for it. At least my entrepreneurs love me for it. I think I always want it. Am I ruining my career finally today?
So let's get into relationship stuff. This whole talk money, to me, the idea of opening financials to your partner, a big conversation, a big topic of buzz out there is prenups. Do you have a specific take on prenuptial agreements?
Well, they're essential. A lot of people think a prenup is for the rich. You have equity to protect. I don't believe in that. I mean, I had potential to. In myself, I felt I had the potential to be a moneymaker when I was very young. So I had a prenup with my first husband. Thank God I did, because the business went from 5 people to about 500 in the 7 years I was married to him.
Wow.
And I kept growing. Thank God I had that prenup, My second husband, I had a postnup because I trusted him so much until a lot of money was put on the table for my business. I made him sign it before I signed the deal. Because I said, I'm not going to worry about this. And I love Bill dearly. I'm still married to him. But when I go to bed at night, I love him more because of my post-up. Believe me, because I know everything's taken care of.
Right.
I think when you introduce a prenup to younger people, it can destroy engagements. I've seen it happen a half dozen times. Very touchy.
Yeah.
But if you can possibly get through it, man, it gives you peace of mind. That's what a prenup is. Everything's decided, peace of mind.
Yeah.
I totally believe in them.
I love it. I agree with it. And I've also heard a lot of people...
But does your fiance
she's on
agree
board
with
it.
Has she signed it yet?
Well, we haven't gotten married yet. So
have you set the date yet?
We haven't set the date yet.
Don't set it or put a reservation down until you have it signed.
There you go. There's your answer from Barbara.
Just in case it calls out the wedding.
Barbara, I feel like now I'm pitching to the shark.
And
I'm
make
getting
sure
in the
it
hot
includes
seat.
potential income, by the way.
Okay.
A lot of people overlook that. They think this is what you have, this is what I have, how will we divide it up? No. If you're just getting started, you're a young person, you've got to cover potential income from what source to that house it's divided.
Okay, it's pre, it's during, and it's after.
Yes.
All right, we're going to talk more about prenups and postnups in the recap. I want to end with this on the relationship stuff. If people are out there and they're saying, I really don't know much about what my partner makes, what do you think are some of the top things they should know about their partner as it relates to anything financially?
Run a credit check.
There you go.
Right away. That's a beginning. Just run a credit check. Ask for a financial statement. It sounds so cold, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's like getting your house in order on the right footing to get started with.
Right.
All right? So what's wrong with that? I think a credit check gets a lot of dirt out of the wash. Like, what about this bill? What about it? Opens that conversation.
Yeah, and we talk about this whole thing of gaslighting, like this idea of making people think crazy with the different things you say. But what about making people think they're crazy, like gaslighting them through your assets? Like, you got this fancy car and this fancy watch and this fancy suit, but there's nothing behind it. There's no credit. There's past due bills. So for me, it's like, open all that stuff up and there's more transparency, and then there's more connection.
Yes, but what really happens when that stuff gets opened up and it's bad news, the transaction doesn't usually happen, and that's the reality.
Yeah.
You know? I often joke with my children. I say, with Dad, he looked like a rich guy, came from a rich family, third generation wealth. Why didn't I ask him for a financial statement?
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. That's a great story. All right, well, Barbara, I could talk to you for another 2 hours. I have a million more questions to ask you, but we're going to end with your trading secret, because you are a busy woman with things to do. So what is one trading secret that our listeners can get from you? They can't learn it in a classroom, they can't read it in a textbook, they can't Google, or now I got to say they can't chat GPT it. What is the Barbara Corcoran trading secret you can leave us with?
I would say don't overlook the basic thing about an individual, which is, do they make good eye contact?
Yeah.
Every time I see an entrepreneur on Shark Tank, if they break eye contact with me, I don't buy. Period. I'm out. I don't say I'm out for another 45 minutes, but I'm out. When someone breaks eye contact easily, you like to think maybe it's nerves on the show, but my great entrepreneurs don't break eye contact. They look you straight in the eye. I have so many guys that come on Shark Tank that won't look at Lori and I know they're never going to let a woman invest in their business. So I sit back and relax and ask a few questions. But I do trust my gut. I also have a trick I use if I'm uncertain, which isn't that often, but I'll say, would I trust this person with my kid when Tommy was younger, Kate was younger? Would I let them babysit this kid for an hour, or would I go to war and throw the kid in his arms and come back, and how would the kid be? And I think, never. And I'm out.
Wow.
Yeah. Trust is everything. You know, I contend that all the deals I've made on Shark Tank with my great entrepreneurs, we never needed a paper contract. We have them. They're so honorable. And when we make a ton of money, and there's a lot of money on the table to be had, there's no infighting, there's joy for each other. It's all the character of the individual. So I know I'm talking too long, but the whole thing is the person, can they be trusted? And do you want to jump into bed with them? That's all it is. The rest of it is all noise. Doesn't make much of a difference.
I think that's great advice. And for anyone back home, if you can't be trusted, maybe that's why you're not getting that next job, that next opportunity, or your next business partner. Really think about how you could build trust. Barbara, this has been super insightful, the personal side, the relationship side, the behind the scenes of Shark Tank. Thank you so much for being on Trading Secrets. Where can people find everything Barbara Corcoran?
How do I say that?
Just follow me on social media.
Just follow me on social media. I never deliver that.
There
They
you
want
go.
to kill me. All the work they do, I never deliver that.
The queen of real estate. I'll tell you, go follow her right now. Her content's incredible. Sometimes I'll use just some of her themes to try and replicate myself. They're that good. Barbara, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.